Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome. This is the Windup, SEC Unfiltered bi-weekly college baseball show. I am Chris Phillips, joined as always by my good friend, Harrison Fant, as we look back on another jam-packed weekend of SEC baseball. 5 of the 8 series resulting in sweeps and some notable results at that. As again, we hit the halfway point officially of the 2025 college baseball season. Guys, once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, check us out via podcast. If you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, guys, we're powered by our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get $200 in bonus bets today. Weekend number 3 of conference play on the Diamond is officially in the books, and we've got another exciting midweek slate as well to talk about later in the show. As always, guys, this is the Windup SEC Unfiltered bi-weekly college baseball show, and dare I say, the best college baseball show on the internet. I am Chris Phillips. I'm joined once again, as I always am, by my good friend, co-host, colleague, the man himself, the expert, Harrison Fant, Mr. Ball Knower. Harrison, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. Excited to chat with you. We have got a ton to discuss, a ton to dive into as the drama only continues to ramp up as we go through SEC play.
Chris, I appreciate the intro and accolades. It's always a joy, and I love talking college baseball with you, especially SEC, the best conference in baseball. And I mean, we had another great weekend, even though it was a ton of sweeps. It was a great, entertaining weekend. A lot that we are going to recap here, and I'm excited to do it. And halfway, Chris, we're halfway through the regular season. It's flying by. Soon enough, we're going to be in Hoover, then at a regional, super regional, and then back to Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, the College World Series. I'm excited to do it, and excited to do it with you, Chris.
Yeah, for those on social media, Harrison, that when I asked the question over the weekend, they didn't understand because I saw some kind of getting upset. We're not halfway through the conference season. We're halfway through the regular season as a whole. So, Harrison, we had a fun exercise on Friday Night Spikes. I want to do it here yet again on the Windup. Let's start before we get into everything. Biggest takeaway, thought, the thing that stands out most to you at the halfway point. Give me one. You can go SEC. You can go college baseball as a whole. Just your biggest takeaway to this point.
I think my biggest takeaway for sure is the drop-off that several 2024 College World Series teams have had so far this season, most notably Texas A&M, of course, in the SEC. Then you have Virginia in the ACC. You have UNC as well in the ACC, and Florida in the SEC, and Kentucky. You can throw Kentucky in that conversation too, just how much they've struggled. And, kind of the opposite it's been of a season for them. I mean, Kentucky specifically, as well as A&M, we know Florida snuck in last year, but Virginia was top of the ACC as well, and so is UNC, and all those teams. That just shows how hard it is to be consistently at the mountaintop, the pinnacle of college baseball, and how deep college baseball is, especially in the SEC and ACC, and it's just crazy to see.
Yeah, I think that's a good one, Harrison. I would say certainly the biggest takeaway for me, and I'll stick with SEC, the depth of the league, the way Texas and Oklahoma have acclimated themselves, not just acclimated to a point of, they're having solid years. Like, they're 2 of the top teams, I think, in the conference right now. Oklahoma, maybe more of an argument. Obviously, they drop over the weekend. We'll talk about that more in a second. But what Texas is doing, I think they've exceeded all of my preseason expectations. Not that my preseason expectations were low, but just, what they've been able to do, both on the mound, swinging the stick, that's been impressive. How good Georgia has been wildly impressive. I mean, I think the low-hanging fruit, Harrison, and again, we're going to talk about this more here in a moment, Texas A&M has to be – I just – my biggest regret, I think I told you weeks ago, was the fact that I did – and you did this, by the way, I'll give you credit – that I didn't give more credit to the idea that, hey, things might be a little bit rocky with a first-year head coach. I kick myself.
It was my biggest concern.
I kick myself on the daily for that. Like, you knew there was some concern, but you just didn't know what it was going to result into. Obviously, again, we'll discuss more. But, guys, we'd love to hear from you as we get going. And, again, we will take your questions, comments, everything at the end of the show. Those tuned in live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. What's your biggest takeaways at the halfway point? It can be your biggest surprise, your most notable team, best team, whatever.
The 5 teams I mentioned are – so in the ACC, Virginia and UNC are 12-12 in conference. They're both 6-6.
And that's after Virginia just swept over the weekend. So that record looks even better after the weekend we just had.
In Florida, 1-8, obviously A&M 1-8, Kentucky 4-5. As a whole, they're 6-21 in the SEC, those three teams. And then combine those ACC and SEC teams, all Omaha teams in 2024, 18-33 in conference play. The most wild and major storyline, I think, for me as a whole. Around college baseball.
You could even, because, Harrison, again, I did not have high expectations. I don't think you did either for Kentucky. Just Florida and A&M being a combined 2-16 in conference play. That just – we were talking about this yesterday. You would have laughed me off this show if I would have said, hey, Harrison, my hot take going in the season, A&M's going to be below 500 at the halfway point. You'd have laughed me off the show. Like, everybody would have. You'd have laughed anybody off any show, and it's just – it's crazy. So, anyways, guys, we'd love to hear your thoughts, your takeaways. Halfway point of the season. This is why we always say, Harrison, this is why we say midweeks matter. Because at some point, we're not going to have midweeks because the season's going to be over. So, savor every single day, savor every single weekend. Because like Harrison said, we're going to be in Hoover before you know it. We'll be off and running the postseason. It's crazy to think we're halfway there. That being said, Harrison, let's go ahead and dive into it again. A jam-packed weekend number 3. Let's start with the Thursday through Saturday series that took place. This series only went Thursday through Friday because of weather, that being Ole Miss and Florida. The Rebels take 2 of 3 in Oxford. Harrison, this one had some theatrics, man. Obviously, you had the post. Brendan Lawson spikes the bat at Ole Miss's dugout. The baseball gods, they bite back, and Florida loses that game late for Ole Miss to clinch the series. I think it's interesting, Harrison, right now, like, Ole Miss feels like one of those teams, that's still kind of flying under the radar. We're not talking about them a ton. Again, there's a lot of teams to discuss and talk about, but I think this series, because it ended on Friday, maybe it's not the most noteworthy, or it wasn't the one that I saw being discussed most. But I think a really, really high-quality series win for Ole Miss against a Florida team that you knew coming in was absolutely desperate to get off the schneid and get the monkey off their back. Granted, give Florida credit. They win the final game. They had to have it. They could not get swept on the road. You and I always talk about, if you go on the road, I know it was desperation. You got to find a way. But for Florida, at least you take one. You finally get out of the 0 in the win column for SEC wins. But your thoughts, Emerson, on this series? Again, Ole Miss getting a big 2 out of 3 series dub, and Florida still left scuffling.
Yeah, I think for both sides, I'll touch on is Ole Miss, you knew you had to take 2 of 3 against a very, very much so struggling Florida team that is going on the road now after being swept twice in SEC play against 2 of the top 3 teams in the country. Granted, obviously take that with a grain of salt. I think has to be mentioned, but the theatrics of I think show what SEC baseball is, and I think in different ways, 2 desperate teams, more so for Florida because of the start they've had, but Ole Miss that middle of the pack trying to really define themselves in their season. Because after you lose a tough series to Arkansas earlier in the year, that they had opportunities to win, and they earn a shootout. It feels like with Missouri. At Missouri, in which your pitching staff struggles, and you're going to face a really talented lineup in Florida. Riley Maddox, back-to-back weekends that he's gotten touched up, and he only goes 1 1/3 here against Florida. Really talented Florida lineup, granted, obviously, but just 2 struggling starts for him. And we talked about, I think, at different points of the season, probably the same at one point as well, just the starting pitching staffs for both these teams. Florida's how we thought at early in the season, Chris. You and I both thought this might be one of the kind of top tier rotations in the SEC, right? And then obviously they dealt with some injuries, but it's really kind of flipped the script on that. And then Ole Miss, you talk about their rotation with Hunter Elliott, Riley Maddox, and then now they're on, Mason Norris, I think, is on Sunday, or Mason Nichols, excuse me. And, a little bit of rocky starts, but they really competing and battling, giving their team an opportunity to win and stay in the game for sure. Hunter Elliott, it's a really strong start. He gave it 3 runs and 5 2/3, but a strong start. And then Riley Maddox, his struggles again, and then Mason Nichols gets a little bit touched up, a shorter outing, kind of just more of a bullpen game. But just 2 teams going in opposite directions, I think. And I think I say that from a standpoint of Ole Miss isn't at the top of the SEC, but they're really, I don't want to say slept on, but just kind of under the radar, like you said, because of how much top-end talent there is around the conference and how much more firework power that the top 3-4 teams in the SEC are producing on a week-in, week-out basis. And Ole Miss is trying to, put themselves in that conversation as well. In Florida, just downhill, it's going downhill, and, they're trying to stop the avalanche, right? And you can't stop an avalanche, but in baseball, you just have to, maybe it takes winning one on the road here and just getting guys healthy is a huge piece too. But, just a lot of confidence in the game and the swag. And I like the energy from Brendan Lawson in that, in the moment, just with how their season's been going. But to look at their dugout and spike your bat, it's too much for me. Look at your dugout and spike the bat, and then go celebrate them in the dugout. You don't do that to every team on the road too, not even in your home ballpark. That for me, that was just too much. And obviously, baseball gods took care of that. And, you had that huge spot. You in a game that which you need after losing game 1, and you put up 4 runs in the 8th. You give up a 2-spot bottom of the 8th, and then you give a 3-spot in the 9th to get walked off. I mean, just talk about, a dagger in the back that just get twisted and turned, Chris. That's what it felt like for me for Florida. And, salvaging game 3, like you said, is huge because you want to win the series at home, not get swept on the road. And they did that. And, maybe that's just them clawing their way back into the season. And, we saw them struggle last year, just where they were middle of the pack last year, and just 500. Everyone's like, Florida shouldn't be in. Florida shouldn't be in the NCAA tournament, blah, 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 this. They ended up going to Omaha. So maybe it kind of feels a similar, in a way, season to that with how talented the rosters and the struggles they've had. But, it's a long season, and you got half a season left. So we'll see.
Is Florida lulling everyone to sleep so we have to pretend like we're surprised when they're in Omaha in a few months? That's the question. I will say this, Harrison. I like this Ole Miss team. I feel like Riley Maddox is so key for them. I just – like, you kind of know what you're going to get out of Hunter Elliott, and then I think in your game 3s, typically your Sunday game, I think it's going to be kind of a typical Sunday game. You're probably going to have to out-hit your way to win that game. But, like, for me, Riley Maddox has just been so up and down. He's been great at times, and I saw him obviously in Arlington to open the season. He was not very good. I think he's going to be a really, really key component to just what – I think his start could be the difference for them on any given weekend. Like, I really do. Like, I think that game 2 is going to be so pivotal for them. Like, I mean, I know it goes without saying, but I will say this, Harrison. I will say this. Florida, now sitting at 1-8 in conference play, okay? These next 3 weekends for the Gators, there is a path. There is a path for Florida to get this thing rolling, kind of like what an LSU did last year, right? When they had backs against the wall, they had to start putting some series wins together, and they did. This is what Florida's got coming up. Vandy at home for 3. Missouri at home, and at Mississippi State. Harrison, you've got to go at minimum 7-3, and I think you probably, 7-2. You have to at minimum go 6-3, probably need to go 7-2, right? Winning all 3 series puts you at 6-3. You probably need to sweep Mizzou at home. I think that goes without saying. So 6-3 at minimum. If you can go 7-2, all of a sudden you'd find yourself 8-10. You're back in the game. You're back in the mix. Not to win the SEC, obviously, but you're back in the mix to build some momentum. Postseason talks are back on. You'll have won 3 series in a row, obviously. There is a path for Florida, Harrison. I'm telling you, there is a path.
Yeah.
Got to take care of business next 3 weekends, though. Again, long way to go.
And you got to win game 1. You got to win game 1 to do that.
And you also have to get healthy. Like, we keep saying that, but, like, dude, this team's as beat up as anybody in the SEC. And there's just, like, they're changing up the weekend rotation every weekend. You got Jake Clemente coming out of the bullpen. Dude, Florida is trotting out a true freshman in Aiden King to start game 1. Like, you need Liam Peterson to return to form. Like, maybe Pierce Capala comes back over the next few weeks. Like, there's a lot of things. You need Alex Philpott to just pitch better. You just need your guys in the pen to pitch better because without Frank
Menendez, the bullpen's been really not helping.
The pen's been awful. The pen's been terrible, right?
Yeah. Like, even guys we really, really high on, Jake Clemente, who's really a lot of really talented guys in the bullpen. I'm going to say, I think it needs to be taken with a grain of salt, whether I say it or not, that there are extremely talented guys in every SEC bullpen. The entire bullpen is extremely talented. You're playing SEC baseball, but you need guys to step up and execute. When I say, like, mention 1 or 2 guys that are super talented guys, like, I mean that, like, on a higher, very successful SEC level, talented. You have your go-to guys, like, those are your go-to guys, right? They're not giving you what you need out of them to be successful and win a weekend series or game. Even that's the biggest thing that hurts teams like Florida right now. Because that's what stops the bleeding.
Yeah. The pin's been awful. I mean, again, there's no excuse to lose that game too. There's just no excuse. Like, you can't have a 5-run lead and give that up and lose that game. You just can't do it. Like, it's inexcusable. Once again, I want to repeat. the path is there for the Florida Gators. I know that fan base is down and out, dejected, 1-8 start. Vandy, Mizzou, at Mississippi State. All 3 series are winnable. All 3 series, I say, Harrison, Florida should win. Throw in a sweep against Missouri in there. Go 7-2. You're right back in the mix. Just saying. It's there. Yeah. The path is there for Florida to get hot. So, anyways, but Ole Miss, they have the upper hand. They take 2 of 3 in Oxford. Harrison, let's go.
It was an important series for Ole Miss, too. I mean,
it was. Yeah,
it was. And you have, like, a talented lineup that's, producing at a high level against, like I said, talented Florida pitching that's just struggling right now. So there's no credit that we should be taking away from Ole Miss in the weekend because it was a big weekend for them winning the series, especially in comeback fashion in game 2.
Yeah, no, that was a high quality. That's the way you want to win a series at home, obviously protecting the home field, the Swayze crazies, beer showers all throughout 2025 season. Love to see it for Mike Bianca and the boys. Harrison, let's go down to Baton Rouge. The other Thursday through Saturday series. This one was kind of wacky with rain delays, and they didn't even play game 3. I think first pitch was 9:30 Central on Saturday night because they had to get that game in because you can't play. If it starts on Thursday, you got to complete it by Saturday. That's one of the silliest rules in the SEC. Either way, though, they get all 3 in, and LSU sweeps. The one thing I'll say about LSU, and I saw some chatter this morning about it, Harrison, and I don't have the exact numbers pulled up. LSU is winning despite the pitching struggling a little bit. Like the pitching hasn't been great. The bats are sort of bailing them out right now, which, again, is fine. You sweep. Like, I'm nitpicking here, but when your expectations to win a national championship, these are things we have to nitpick. You have to go read in between the lines. You have to be overly critical. So, Nate Yeske, that entire staff, they're working on getting that thing figured out. They've got the arms, obviously. I mean, I thought like an Anthony Ianson, I thought he had a bounce-back start that weekend or over the weekend. But the pitching staff, I know for them, has been less than stellar. The bats are incredible, though. I mean, the way they swing it. I think the bigger storyline from this, Harrison, might even just be Mississippi State and the chatter coming out of there. Like, are we witnessing the last days of Chris Lemonis in Starkville? Because I think we are. Like, I know we love to – listen, I've made jokes at my own expense, Harrison, because I called for his head last year. I said it was time to move on. They make the postseason. But I'll be honest with you, man, like, even looking back at that, it's like the fact we were kind of celebrating Mississippi State having to go on the road for a regional and getting eliminated, like, dude, that's not Mississippi State baseball. Like, they have not lived up to the standard since 2021 when they won the national championship. And I can tell you this, Harrison, from talking to folks I've talked to, it's not just fans. There are former players that are in very high regard in Starkville that say enough is enough. They feel like they've seen enough. It's time to move on. So I think
on the record or off the record?
On the record. To these people, I'm not gonna share.
No, I just didn't know if they were like, because I mean, some.
Oh no! It's off the record. Yeah, they haven't gone publicly out there.
Gotcha.
I think obviously they don't want to. It won't do any good. But anyways, people in Starkville are fed up. You look at the SEC record and the overall record since 2021. It has not been good, Harrison. And I think this is probably, unless they have some major turnaround, which I hope. I mean, they were one of my Omaha 8, funny enough. Unless they have some major turnaround, I have a hard time believing Chris Lemonis is going to be in Starkville next year.
I mean, that fan base is hungry after you win a national championship, and the fan base that they have. And
dude, it's one of the best jobs in college baseball. Like it is one of the best jobs in college baseball.
Around the baseball program, like the standards are really high there, really high.
Yeah, I mean, I won't blame them. Like this is. I mean, dude, baseball is essentially your number one at Mississippi State. Like, again, it is one of, you talk to anybody in baseball circles, they will tell you it is one of, you could argue, I could go as far as to say it's the best job in the SEC. It's one of the best. It is one of the very best. Probably wouldn't stack it against maybe like an LSU because of resource. But here's the thing at Mississippi State, from a resource perspective, dude, there's no other sport taking your resources. Football's not good. I mean, basketball's solid, but
I mean, you want to go to that example? Give me LSU. You can't tell me LSU is number 2 sports, not baseball. You can't.
Oh, it is, but the number 1 is football. That's the point.
Yeah.
Like, you're always going to be competing with football to get, again, LSU, great job. I'm just saying Mississippi State, one of the best jobs in the country. They could go out and get a big-time guy, like a big-time guy. Like, I feel like whoever they want, somebody will be chomping at the bit to get that opportunity and meet those expectations. But anyways, I mean, Harrison, you and I expected LSU would take care of business, but to get swept, Mississippi State really, really scuffling. I think our guy Jake, he talked about this on Friday Night Spikes, and we've talked about it off the air. he hits the nail on the head. You're lacking star power. Like outside of Pico Cone, you're lacking star power when it comes to this state team. There's just, Ace Reese.
I would put Hunter Hines in there too.
But he hasn't been very good.
He's
been better. He's been better of late, but like, I don't know, man. They just don't have enough of those guys. Like, they're not an exciting brand of baseball. It's not, it just doesn't really get the juices flowing when you watch Mississippi State these days. Yeah. So, like LSU and State, they're two opposites in that regard. They're two opposites.
For me, the biggest takeaways for the series were, like the start time, that whole deal was ridiculous too. But star power. Even the star power in LSU's, like Kane Anderson got touched down a little bit. He had some mistake pitches that resulted in home runs. Lots of costly errors for State that they end up giving up, home runs that LSU ambushed. About star power though, Zach Cohen in the Cowan in the bullpen, he was filthy. Gross changeup. He looked super polished. Plus slider, elevated fastball, mixing everything for strikes all over the zone. I was really impressed with him watching him pitch in to close it out, his first save of the season. But then Mississippi State just missed a lot of opportunities, left runners on bases. Kassan Evans ended up shoving as well the bullpen. He K'd the majority, I think, the guys he saw, plus changeup, plus curveball, fastball, good mix too. But Chris, I don't know if you saw it. Chase Shores took a ball at the face. Did you see that?
I somehow missed that.
It bounced. It didn't hit him line drive. It was bounced and hit him off like right underneath the eye, like right here. He makes the play still. He stays in the game with like a black eye that's like swelling shut almost and gets out of it. And I was like, this dude's a dog. That is who you want on the mound. And to have Chase Shores as your Sunday guy, Chris, in the SEC, up to upper 90s with the arsenal he has, and just depth of his breaking ball and the rest of his arsenal, that's a dog. And that's who you want in Sunday Star. I think that he's one of the top Sunday stars around the league right now, and just like highest floor and a pretty high ceiling as well. But I don't know. Also, another thing was a suicide squeeze up 12-5 for LSU. That I didn't get that at all. That was, I thought, really weird. For me, I thought it was really weird.
Hey, Jay going to keep coaching, man. Keep coaching.
Yeah, but you're up 12-5.
Keep coaching, baby. It's like throwing the ball deep when you're up 30. Stop us. Situations.
Yeah, but I just thought the situation was kind of weird for that. And he pulled back and it bounced and he still scored on a suicide squeeze. It was like, it was way out of this batter's box first. But Daniel Dickinson continues to crush the ball. Jared Jones continues to crush the ball as well. Obviously he's Bear Jones for reason, just ambushing baseballs, and a lot more of a home run weekend for them for sure than this team has been traditionally this season, because they are not a slugfest of an SEC club this year, but they are going to barrel the ball to death all game. Like it is ridiculous how many barrels they have per game. It feels like every inning someone's barreling a ball at least, and doing so with a lot of runners in score position. And then opposite for Mississippi State, not barreling the ball a lot and not hitting with runners in score position, leaving a lot of runners on. And it was just, that was for me the takeaway of this series. And I think Mississippi State was in every game. They really were. They've been in almost every game, the SEC game they've played in. It just feels like the star power isn't stepping up and coming in clutch, and they're just not able to, put up enough zeros. I know that's kind of a simplistic way of saying it, but they're not able to stop the damage, like stop the bleeding.
And to be fair too, again, there's really no shame in going into Alex Box Stadium and losing 2 of 3, or losing a series, I should say. We talk about it again. It's the sweeps you want to avoid. I just mentioned like the stretch upcoming for Florida. Mississippi State, they got a pivotal stretch upcoming too. Like here's the thing, through 3 SEC weekends, and there's a reason I labeled this today, Harrison, like there's separation happening in the SEC. You're not dead, but if you're sitting there 1-8, you're on life support. Like you are scuffling, beyond scuffling, and you're sitting at 1-8. You got to start winning some ball games, and you got to start winning some ball games soon. So maybe asking you to go into LSU and do that, hey, tough ask, but you got to start putting together some weekends. Like we're going into weekend number 4.
Good news for these struggling SEC teams. Everyone makes it to the SEC tournament. Anything can happen in the tournament, especially with how certain, teams with buys and, are going to pitch, and just the strategicness of the tournament, because, what does Tennessee have to gain from an SEC tournament at this position? What does Georgia have to gain? What does, LSU have to gain, right? Like, you're not going to go out and throw all your weapons and everything a couple days before, regional start. So there is that strategy of, teams that are desperate can really do well and have done well in the tournament. And I'm not going to say Is it technically an auto bid if you win the conference tournament, right?
It's an auto bid. Yeah.
Still.
You're automatically in.
I mean, but even if you get into the semifinals of the SEC tournament, if you're at 500, I think you get in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends, man. I mean, we'll have this chatter later in the season, but yeah, the percentages and the numbers.
13, like Florida and Mississippi State, if they go on a run in the SEC tournament,
13 SEC wins is the magic number. That's where you need to be.
Watch Florida or Mississippi State go in a run in the SEC tournament and win it because they're that desperate, and just the tables and the cards fall right, and they get an auto bid. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
Auburn maybe.
Yeah, I just, again, State's got to get it rolling, and I think from what people I've talked to, again, what I've seen, State fans are done with Chris Lemonis. It is now like he'd have to win back the fan base because they are out, and I don't blame him. I mean, outside of that natty in 2021, which that's a big deal, but they've just been nothing since. I mean, they've been bad. They've been really bad. So, yeah, it's going to take a big turnaround. To your point about LSU, too, I think the pitching gets going, a lot of talent. It is interesting with them offensively. Like, they're not the biggest bashers in the SEC. They're not Tennessee. They're not Georgia. But, man, they barrel at the baseball.
They're just a double machine. And they'll pop some home runs here and there. I mean, Derek Curiel.
Stud.
It is the weirdest, and I mean this in a compliment, simplistic, like, low-effort, backside home runs I've seen from him twice now in 2 weeks of just, like, slapping the other way, and it just has enough pop to get out. I don't understand it. But he's got some backside oppo power somehow. It's not Bear Jones backside power, but, I mean – it's just they're really talented. The stars are stepping up and, coming in clutch when they need to.
17 runs in that final game against State, by the way. So that offense, plenty potent, even if they're not leading the conference in homers. Harrison, let's go to the Friday through Sunday traditional weekend series. Let's start, of course, in Nashville, Tennessee, where I was over the weekend. I'm surprised you didn't say anything about the hat, by the way. Shout out to Vandy.
I do like the hat. It's fresh.
Yeah, shout out to Vandy football for hooking your boy up.
Shout out to Diego Pavia's NIL deal for hooking you up.
That's it, man. Exactly. I want to start with this. Arkansas obviously sweeps. We'll get into the series. Had a great time, though, Henderson in Nashville. I will say, taking in Hawkins Field. And, I had been before over the fall, watched the scrimmage, but actually seeing an SEC weekend there, I liked the ballpark more than I think I thought I would from the standpoint of, like, when we do our ballpark rankings, I'll admit I don't have it near the top, obviously, but it's if you can just go there, not compare it against every other park and just kind of appreciate it for what it is. I mean, it goes without saying, it's one of the most unique setups in college baseball you're literally sharing a concourse with the football stadium. You got there were foul balls going into the football stadium. Like, it was just such a neat vibe.
Hey, Chris, imagine, you remember from playing your playing days too, right? Remember, imagine, freshman that's not playing that game.
Get the ball, yeah.
Hey, someone on a foul ball. Freshman's got to go into the football stadium and get the foul ball. Got to go sneak through whatever it is, maybe do a couple stadiums.
Thankfully, I think for an SEC ball club, they probably got student managers doing that. But still, to your point, it's just such a neat vibe. I mean, it was well attended. Arkansas fans, as you can imagine, traveled really, really well. I had one of the coldest takes to most people of all time, Harrison. I got my first look at the Vandy Whistler in person, and I thought the Vandy Whistler was awesome, and I voiced that on social media, and everybody thinks I'm an idiot now, so it is what it is. But I'll tell you, man, listen, I'm a big when they zig, you zag kind of guy, okay? College baseball needs more characters. Like, we need as many characters and as many personalities as we can get. That's what the Vandy Whistler is. Listen, you'll hate me for this probably. During the game, I went up to the dude, and I literally told him, hey, man, you make college baseball better. Appreciate you. Keep it up. So,
did he whistle at you in front of you?
He did not. He just said thanks. But if you hate the Vandy Whistler, you're going to hate me for saying that. It is what it is. I'll wear it. I don't care. I'm willing to die on this hill and have an unpopular take here.
Did you ask him about his hydration methods?
I did not. No. But I am willing to have this unpopular take. Dude, people were like, I listened to him all weekend. Didn't even bother me. It was what it was. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just immune to the Vandy Whistler.
It didn't bother me, but it
didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. So, again, I'm willing to die on that hill. I'm willing to have that take. It is what it is. Y'all can throw tomatoes in the comments. It's all good. But either way, had a great weekend in Nashville. Enjoyed every second. Thank you to all those of Vandy baseball and just Vandy in general, man. It's the love is really cool. And obviously, those that missed it, I will be making the move to Nashville, Tennessee over the next few months. So it's going to be really cool to have that in my backyard. And everybody in Nashville was great, man. Everybody with Vandy was great. We had a great time. The unfortunate part for the Doors, Harrison, is Arkansas took the brooms out. And they swept Vanderbilt over the weekend. Cam Kozel came back and crushed his former team, Haverson. He had 2 homers, 8 RBIs in game 1 alone, and it just kept going. I believe the first at bat of game 2 hits another bomb. That dude was red hot. I'll tell you this, Harrison. Obviously, this is my first opportunity getting a look at both these clubs in person. But for Arkansas, I'm going to hate myself for saying it because I have Arkansas PTSD when it comes to the postseason. I picked them to win the SEC.
You're not the only one, apparently.
I picked them to win the SEC, but I've got Arkansas PTSD when it comes to them in the postseason. But man, this Hogs team has the making of one of the best teams in the country and a real threat to win the national championship. Like, they have all the pieces. Like, here's the thing. They've always been able to pitch. And like over the weekend, Zach Root was great on Friday. I thought Gabe Gackle, he was great on Saturday. Beetleshees coming in on Sunday. He was really good. They've got the sticks, though, man. Like, that's the difference now. Up and down the lineup, there are different guys. It's not just the Earley brothers. It's not just Kozel, who kind of almost came out of nowhere. It's not just Iredale. There's Gavilan. Like, there's so many other dudes that, I mean, we had kind of discussed lightly coming in the weekend, but getting to see somebody in person, right? Like, you get to see so many more guys and hear so many more names, and I'm like, damn, this dude's popping off. This dude's driving the ball to the gap. This dude's hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Like, they've got the lineup now to compete at the highest level. They've always been able to do it in the regular season. Maybe they've now got the sticks, Haverson, to do it in the postseason. I say maybe because, again, I've got to see it, because is this Arkansas team capable of getting to the postseason and pissing down their leg? They absolutely are. We've seen it before. But, man, they're one of the best teams in the country. Like,
I wouldn't say they always had like the ability to do this in the regular season.
I'm just saying this is like Arkansas is typically Arkansas is always going to be there. Like, they are always competing at the highest level in the regular season. It feels like, to me at least. But bottom line, the point stands. Getting a look at them in person, this is one of the best teams in the country. They've got the arms. They've got the sticks. They've got one of the best coaches in the game in Dave Van Horn. I loved what I saw from the Hogs over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to get these out of the way because I've been kindly corrected. Gabe Gackle, Brent Iredale, Cade Kozel, Landon Beetlecheese. Just so we're on the record now.
Beetlecheese?
Beetlecheese.
Really?
That's
okay.
That's how an Arkansas fan told me it was pronounced. So
and the PA guy said Kozel, so I guess he was wrong too. Then
Kozel. It's Kozel.
Kozel. Okay.
KOE-ZUL is how I was told to pronounce it from an Arkansas fan.
Kozel. But, very good.
I mean, like you talk about the lineup. I mean, you have the French Canadian Charles Davalon. I hope that one's pronounced correctly. But
it's Davalon, yeah.
From going from Canada to Florida Gulf Coast to Arkansas has been one of the most crazy just culture shocks of just transitions. But he's settling in nicely in Arkansas and Fayetteville, and obviously doing a really good job in that leadoff role. I mean, he had 3 RBIs in game 1 alone, and that was with Earley struggling behind him. Both Earleys went over in game 1. It's just the depth they have in the lineup that you have guys like Nolan Souza who can play at a high level, and the second baseman for them who bottom of the lineup hits can pick up the slack when other guys are struggling. It doesn't have to be a 1 or 2 man band. Guys are picking each other up when hey, I don't have their best day. They're not seeing it well to play. They're not getting on base. Ryder Helflick does it too. I mean, it's just great to see that. And I mean, I thought that Beetlecheese on Sunday had a solid outing considering his stat line, but
he only threw 1 bad pitch and he got hit on the ballpark, but
was really sharp. Really sharp on Sunday. I mean, he went 2 hits in 4 innings, 7 Ks. I mean, his stuff is good too. I was really impressed to see that. And I mean, it's just, we both picked Arkansas. You picked Arkansas, correct?
Yeah. We all went Arkansas. Yeah.
Because we didn't think that Vanderbilt was going to be able to keep up offensively wise with Arkansas. I think it goes to show the depth. The pitching staff, I thought,
it played out exactly that way. Yeah.
The pitch staff was going to be close, I thought. But I mean, you have Zach Root, who's got he's been a little streaky recently starts, but obviously a great start here. I mean, going almost 8 innings, 3 hits, no earned. I mean, great to see him bounce back, and obviously what Arkansas really needed. And then you have Gabe, who has a better start, gives your team a lot of length. He goes 2 earned over 5 2/3. But I mean, Jimenez in the bullpen was really good closing out for them. But it's just the offensive, guys being able to piece that together with solid defense, and piece together with elite starting pitching and a bullpen that can, manage at minimum, let alone close the door, that's a complete team. And that's what an SEC team can do on the road. And to go on the road and sweep, Chris, I mean, not easy. That's one of the hardest things to do, I think, in baseball. And I mean, you talk about it and you think about how long it's been. Chris, when was the last time you think Arkansas swept in Nashville?
I don't know exactly, but I did hear the stat. Like it had been like 20 years, I think, or something like that.
1994 was the last time Arkansas. It was the first time they swept, and it was the last time as well in Nashville, 1994. But on the other side, Vanderbilt, this is the third time since 2009. Only the third time that they've been swept at home against an SEC team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so I'll say this when it comes to Vandy, Harrison, because I've got some Vandy buddies of mine. Shout out the Door Report, Trev and Will Byron. Trev, I saw, got crushed over the weekend on social media by people. Don't think Vandy has fans. Oh, they do. They do. And we love them, and they're awesome. And they were giving him a lot of hell for this. I'm going to kind of back up my guy Trev here real quick, because I'm going to say this. You don't fire Tim Corbin. Tim Corbin's a legend. You don't do it. I will say this, though. It feels like Tim Corbin's a guy that, like, he feels like a guy that the game has passed him by a little bit. From the standpoint of, like, dude, I know how he wants to win. You can see it. And I'm not saying it's wrong. They want to pitch, and they want to pitch really well. They want to play great defense, and they want to do just enough offensively to beat you. Here's the problem, Harrison, and being there in person, you could see it firsthand. Vanderbilt asks their pitchers to be perfect. They ask them to spin a gym every time out because they're trying to win the ball game 3-2, 4-3, 5-4. Here's the problem. In this conference in 2025, Harrison, everybody can swing it. Like, you have to be able to swing it to win at a high level. And so pitchers are not going to be perfect. Like, Vandy pitched well this weekend. All their guys.
Connor Finnell.
I was impressed with all their guys.
Start last week.
All their guys pitched really well. Yeah, their guys pitched really, really well.
His Sunday he was great again against this talented Arkansas lineup. 10 Ks. He had 10 punchies, Chris, in 5 innings. He's a stud in the making.
Yeah.
I imagine if he puts on weight and continues to work with the pitching development that they have at Vanderbilt.
Yeah. I mean, all their guys pitched really well. The point being is this, though, is that Vandy, their biggest problem, they ask their pitchers to be perfect against the best lineups that college baseball has to offer, and you just cannot make a living at a high level doing that weekend in, weekend out. You can't win games 4-3, 5-4 anymore, 3-2. You can't do it. And Vandy was in every single game. But at some point, you got to do something offensively. You got to have a guy in the lineup that can break a game open. And, like, I'm not saying Vanderbilt's got bad players, but they don't have the sticks to win at the highest level. And it feels like an old, archaic way of trying to win baseball games. Tim Corbin's a legend. You don't fire him, obviously. But if I'm a Vanderbilt baseball fan, I'm like, we got to adapt or we're going to die. Like, we got to adapt or we're going to get passed up. It's a different game now. Portal, NIL. Vandy doesn't have some of the same advantages they used to have. They're still pitching really well. They're still playing great defense. But if you cannot swing it, none of it matters. And there's nobody in that Vandy lineup that really scares you. And that's their biggest problem. And that's what happened against Arkansas. They're in every single game. They can't keep up offensively. They're asking these pitchers to be perfect. And I actually feel bad for the pitching staff because they're pitching really well, but they're getting burned because at some point the offense has to step up. There's got to be a big swing of the bat. Vanderbilt's not a bad baseball team, but in the best conference in college baseball with the best lineups, they're getting lapped. So, like, I just, for the future of Vandy baseball, I'm not telling Vandy, hey, you should fire Tim Corbin. I think Tim Corbin's a great coach. He's a legend, but the style feels old and archaic, and it almost feels like Tim Corbin's losing his fastball a little bit. So what is the future of Vanderbilt baseball? I don't know, but, like, they've got to change some stuff up because you cannot swing it the way they do. You cannot win games the way they're trying. And it's a tale of two teams. Like, Arkansas realized that. They went out and they got some sticks. And, like, they look like a different club because they had this problem. But Vandy, it's like, this has been their problem forever, man. Like, you have to be able to swing it at a high rate. If not, you're going to get lapped. It doesn't matter how good your pitching is. At some point, the pitching's going to crack because the hitters are so good. But Vandy doesn't have those guys to make you pay. That's their biggest issue.
Did it feel like a big or small ballpark to you, the Hawk?
It felt bigger than I expected from the standpoint of like because of all the outfield seating, but I mean it's not a big park. Obviously, I would say it's still a small ballpark. I mean, dude, I mentioned there's no concourse, like there's really nowhere to walk around. I mean, every square inch of that place is taken up by a seat, which is fine. But yeah, I would say, I mean, comparatively in the SEC, yeah, it's one of the smaller ballparks, no doubt. I mean, it's not a big park by any means, but a nice park. It's an intimate park. It's a cool, but it's again, it's just so unique. It's so different, but
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed my experience. I say everything with love, but I just know some folks are going to been killing my guy Trev for his take on Tim Corbin, and I
Well,
get
you
what
know,
he's.
Corbin's tired of the questions about the offense too, but like you gotta.
Well, then go swing it. You got to go hit. I mean,
yeah, and I think like the point you make about Arkansas doing that this year and getting guys that can just mash the ball and pairing that with an elite starting pitching staff and good bullpen pieces, like that's what happens, right? But like think about home runs in the SEC. Where do you think Vanderbilt ranks?
I would assume dead last or near the bottom.
Dead last, 23 home runs.
I mean, dude, Harrison, like I thought about this.
Georgia has 79.
I know. RJ Austin is a guy that like opening weekend, we're like, dude, I mean, and he's a stud. Dude, RJ Austin is a stud. Like some of the plays he made in the outfield, crazy. But we're talking about him as like one of their top hitters. Harrison, he has one home run, and it came on his first at bat of the season.
And he's their leadoff.
It is about to be April. So yeah, to your point, man, there's just not enough pop in the lineup. And they don't even barrel up a lot of baseballs, really. I mean,
you have a freshman in the 4-hole, Chris. That's what it's like. A really talented freshman.
And they've got some good young players. Like Vanderbilt's not just like, I don't watch them and you're like, man, this is just a bad baseball team. They're just missing a key component. That's the problem. So
yeah, I mean, Chris, to go on the home run kind of spiel a little bit more, they're last in the home run in the SEC in home runs. And I mean, obviously batting average is down, is the last as well in the SEC, but the last four teams, the bottom four teams in home runs, Kentucky, this is in order from 12 to 15, Kentucky, South Carolina, Missouri, Vanderbilt. What are their records?
They're all not very good.
Just like you said, the pitching staff has saved them won them so many games. I mean, in the top of the SEC, I think LSU's a little bit of an outlier because, they're just going to mash doubles and, pop home runs at 48, and they're the number one batting average in the SEC. But LSU, Arkansas, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, that's top five.
Yeah. And
they're all above 48 home runs. 48.
Shocker. If you hit home runs and have a lot of power, you're going to be pretty good. So
exactly. And that's just what the day and age of this SEC is.
Yeah. I mean, again, moving off this one, Harrison, the harsh reality is this, or the reality is this. Arkansas, Omaha club, they figured out the offense. They've got boppers 1 through 9. We know about the pitching staff. Vanderbilt, it's the opposite. They've got the staff. They play great defense, but again, you can't swing it. I like Corbs a lot. Great coach. One of the best coaches in the country. But is he one of the best coaches in the country for today's game? Because there's a guy 2.5 hours, 3 hours away down the road in his own state that is the opposite of Tim Corbin. And you could argue he's the best coach in college baseball. So you tell me. You know what I mean? Like, you tell me. I just, like, Vandy, you're not even the best team in your own state anymore. You probably need to go get a guy that can go toe-to-toe with Tony Vitello.
Yeah.
Because Tim Corbin can't.
Last thing I'll say about it, they still produce a lot of big leaguers. They have the most big leaguers in the SEC on opening day rosters this season.
How many big league hitters?
11.
I know Dansby.
I mean, JJ Bledé, I'd say probably half.
Are they half? I thought it was mostly
pull it
pitchers.
Up real quick.
I thought it was mostly pitchers. Whatever. They're a pitching factory. They're a pitching factory.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like there's a difference between producing big league talent, and winning at a high level in the SEC, obviously.
Well, I can tell you this. RJ Austin, maybe, but there is nobody in that lineup.
There you go. JJ Bledé, Walker Buehler, Tyler Ferguson, Sonny Gray, Jack Leiter. So that's 4-1 pitchers. Brian Reynolds, outfielder. So Kumar Rocker, Colin Snyder, Dansby Swanson, and Mike Yastrzemski. So it's 1, 2, 4 to 6, 4 to 7. So 4 hitters.
More hitters than I would have thought. All right, Harrison, let's go to Athens, Georgia. The Georgia Bulldogs sweep the Auburn Tigers. This has been quite a turn for you and I, especially for me, because of what I'm about to say. Because Georgia just dismantled Auburn in every way possible. Like, we thought this would be, hey, big opportunity for Auburn, make a statement. Like, no. Georgia was like, we'd have none of that. We're going to hit a zillion home runs. The pitching has continued to improve and get better. Colton Smith was fantastic. I believe that was in game 1. So the pitching is a lot better coming around. Does Georgia have an argument to be number 1? I mean, are they the best team in the SEC right now? Dude, they're 28-2, I think the record is.
Chris,
or 20, what is it, 27-2 or something?
Best start, 28-2, a best start.
28-2.
Yeah, best start in school history in after 30 games.
And you and I, Harrison, talked about how crazy this is. They're 28-2, and their 2 losses are to Kentucky and UNC Wilmington, and they've beaten everybody else. So I'm not saying take Tennessee out of the number 1 spot, but, dude, Georgia is just a monster. I mean, they are an absolute machine. And we talked about it, especially if the pitching gets rolling, they're going to be a real problem. I mean, dude, all they do is hit. All they do is hit. They're a church league softball team. We mentioned that last week.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. But the thing is, the thing for me, Georgia's offense, obviously super talented lineup that can all hit home runs. They don't miss mistake pitches. They can all hit an elevated fastball. And for some reason, I know it's not on purpose, but the amount of mistake and get me over curveballs that they get right down the middle is unbelievably high. It feels like they get, 3, 5, 4, 5 of them an inning, or not an inning, a game. And they're all doubles and home runs. They just don't miss mistake pitches is the biggest thing, and why I think they're so deep in talent in the offensive, side of it. And it's just as the pitching continues to improve and get better. I mean, Colton Smith, like you said, he was really sharp. I was really happy to see him have a great outing and just the stuff that he has. I mean, his curveball falls off the table. I mean, it had so much, it probably was close to 2,800 spin rate. It's been into the zone really well, had a feel for all of his pitches off of the zone. Season high 8 Ks for him. I mean, he was really good to see. I think Samuel Dutton did a really good job as well, though, for Auburn, to give him credit. He looks good and better than the stat line. 3 hits, 0 RBIs to the top 6 of Georgia's lineup. I mean, think about it, Chris. That is impressive to do against this Georgia lineup. So that for me, it was just, I wouldn't say they dominated Auburn, because game 3 they came back even after they went to extra innings, and then Auburn had a 2-run homer in the 10th, and then you throw the ball away at home trying to make a play. 2 runs score on that. And then Daniel Jackson hits a walk-off home run to end it. I mean, that's what Georgia does, though. They take advantage of mistakes at the plate better than maybe anyone in the SEC, Chris. And
they don't miss.
Yeah. But I mean,
they don't miss.
We're talking about starting pitching, though, too. Brian Curley, he got touched up. He really did from Auburn. Ike Irish had a really good series, I think. Cade Fisher, I think, Chris, maybe the formula to beating Georgia is Cade Fisher. Somehow he went 4 innings, 1 hit, 5 walks. That I don't know how he had 5 walks, only 1 hit, no earned. And to do what he did, 4 Ks, and just I think the formula, Chris, is a slower than league average fastball and good off speed. I think that's the formula to beat Georgia, maybe. I mean, because
they eat velo alive.
They eat velo. Nothing else seems to be working. I mean, you think maybe Georgia's using torpedo bats at this rate? It's ridiculous. But I mean,
is Georgia using torpedo
metal bats? Yeah,
dude, yes, that is the comment of the day right there.
Yeah, but
Georgia using torpedo bats.
Maybe if they hire someone from Tech, maybe, but not Georgia education or engineer. But
here we go. Here we go.
Big inning, Chris, though, for Georgia. Just teams really can't stop the bleeding when it happens. Yes, they'll hit around through the whole game, but just have these big innings that no team seems to be able to stop. And it's what's been so, I think, important for Georgia is they kick them up, someone's down an inning, and they just step on them. It's consistent. It's super consistent. But for Auburn, last thing I'll say for Auburn, Bub Terrell, I don't know why he didn't play more. He should have started in game 2. He had the game time or tie-breaking home run at the top of the 10th. Didn't play in game 2, but he's super talented. Then Auburn, like I said, blows it in the bottom of the 10th after throwing away. And then Daniel Jackson, 0-1 hanger that he deposits to walk it off. But, I mean, just so hard to beat Georgia right now, Chris, because of how much pressure they put on you to be perfect, pitching-wise against their lineup, which isn't happening for anyone. But how much pressure they put on another team's lineup to keep up with them.
I want to say this because to your point, the games were a little closer than I indicated. 4-1, 11-7. They won in 10 innings on Sunday. So it wasn't just straight up belt
They
to
were in
ass.
game one for a while, long time.
Yeah, it wasn't belt to ass like I insinuated. But I will say this. What's scary about Georgia is they're starting to win in multiple ways. Like the fact that they can go win a 4-1 game and then go win an 11-7 game, it's like,
yeah.
Uh-oh. Like, because at first it was like, all right, they're just going to outslug you. Dude, if they're able to start pitching it as well and they can win a low-scoring ball game as well as that high score. The best teams are the teams that can win the most ways. Georgia is starting to win multiple ways.
Tennessee, LSU.
That's terrifying.
Texas.
Yeah.
I mean,
all the top teams in this league can beat you multiple ways.
Arkansas.
Georgia's now in that convo of like, dude, if they need to pitch, let's see it continue. But if they need to pitch, it looks like all of a sudden they might be able to get that outing they need.
Yeah. I mean, and then you have Devin Oberty, who hits the second longest home run for Georgia this season at 452, I think, 452 feet, 54 feet. I mean, maybe it's a torpedo bat. I'm not sure, but I will say, quote of the day from him, Devin Oberty, Duke transfer. He played there for 3 years, grad transfer. The energy is just different. Playing in the ACC, you had a lot of fans, a lot of energy and stuff like that. But the SEC is just a different feel. The pregame rituals and everything, it's hard to describe. You just feel a different energy when you're in the stadium on playing in the SEC versus the ACC, Chris.
We knew it meant less for those guys. So whatever. I'm not surprised at all. Just means less over there for those guys in the ACC. So shout out to them. Before we get off this series again, Harrison, Georgia disposing of Auburn. I mean, just another big time statement for the Dogs. Obviously, sitting at 8-1 in SEC play. Rylan Zabrowski, bro, or Zaborowski, excuse me, Rylan Zaborowski. I want to read off these numbers: 442, 1.580 OPS. He is 38 for 86 with 7 doubles, 14 home runs, and 48 RBI. He is slugging over 1,000. 1.012, and his on-base percentage is .568. I mean, I'm gonna go too far from it. Allow me to go too far. Charlie, who? I mean, I mean, dude, like this dude is like, he's like, you're not Charlie Condon. He's like, well, hold my beer. I got you. Watch this. I'm just saying, I no disrespect to Charlie Condon, but my God, dude, this dude is on fire.
That's crazy. I'm not disagreeing, but that's crazy.
Like I said, allow me to go too far. I know what I did, but here's the problem. Now? Here's the only problem with people are talking about like golden spikes. Here's why Rylan Zaborowski will not win it. When is the last time the Golden Spikes winner came from the same school back-to-back years?
I say Arkansas has a good chance, but I don't think it's Arkansas.
I don't think it's ever happened. So, like, are they really going to give the Golden Spikes to a guy from Georgia again? But, I mean, dude.
Chris, I'll say one thing. Charlie Condon hit a home. He had 37 home runs last season. 230.
That's insane.
37 home runs, first off. 78 RBIs. 231 at-bats. That's a home run every 6.25 at-bats. Rylan Zaborowski, you have his stats still? I'll pull it up here. He has 14 home runs in 86 at-bats, Chris.
Yes.
That's a home run every 6.14 at-bats.
Wow.
442 versus Charlie Condon's 433. I mean,
if he keeps it rolling, just saying.
I mean, but he's not even on the Golden Spikes like odds. You can't even bet on it.
Insanity, just flat out insanity.
Which doesn't make any sense. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, he had 1 home run this weekend too. Like, it felt like a quiet weekend.
Yeah. Anyways, Georgia.
I think you do have to get Auburn some props going in and playing. Yes, they got swept, but they played really tight versus Georgia.
Yeah.
I was appreciative of that.
Yeah, tough series for them. They got a huge one. Both these teams, by the way, huge one. Auburn has Alabama at their place. Harrison, we'll talk about it more Thursday. Georgia, Texas in Austin. That one's going to be fun. Speaking of Texas, Harrison, let's go to Como, Texas, Missouri. The Longhorns sweep Mizzou. The Bats were alive and well all weekend. Will Gasparino is a man on fire right now. Harrison, every time I refresh social media, I feel like Jalen Flores is hitting another home run. Texas doing what we expected. I won't spend a ton of time on this, but the Longhorns looking really, really good, as you would expect. And once again, I'm going to keep asking every single week, over under 3.5 SEC wins from Mizzou. You're welcome to change your answers, everyone, in the comments, yourself, myself, Harrison, you, whatever. Thoughts from the weekend. Texas, again, taking care of business like we thought they would.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was one of those things, don't go into Como sleeping, because we saw Florida, a really talented Florida team, do that as well. And it didn't come out well for them. But, I think you talk about how you said Georgia's be able to win multiple ways. That's what Texas is. And they did it against LSU in multiple ways. They do it here, and just the talent that they have. I mean, Jared Spencer has, I think a bad start by his standards and statistically, but then, you only have to use one guy for an inning after that because you run rule them. And then you just keep mashing. You do what you're supposed to do, Chris. You get a solid start from Luke Harrison, but you have errors that cause 4 unearned runs. Like, I mean, he wasn't even striking out guys a lot, which is kind of weird, like, and unexpected. But then, just the bullpen pattern and staple of Max Grubbs and Dylan Valencia. It's maybe 2 of the top bullpen arms in the SEC right now, on a consistently high level. Yes, people are going to say I'm using an example against Missouri, but they've done it all season.
Yeah.
Dylan Valencia was SEC Freshman of the Week last week. They've done it against LSU. I mean, they go combined 5 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 9 Ks, 1 walk in game 2. I mean, it's just the arm farm is real, and I'm going to keep saying it so people understand it. I mean, then you have Ruger Riojas, who has
taking that Sunday job.
His first start, Chris, last week for Texas, his 3rd career start. Yes, it's at Missouri. I don't care. 7 innings, 2 hits, 10 Ks, no walks, no earned. I mean, as Max Wiener says, dominate the damn zone. He did that. I mean, he did it all game. It was crazy. And then Jason Flores comes in and closes it out. I mean, you got guys in the bullpen. You got Duplantier the second, who, I mean, you got just a lot of talent and high leverage arms that, consistently produce at a high level versus I don't care who they're playing SEC. And then the bats that go with it, I mean, took care of business. Texas did in Como. They might have had more fans than Missouri. I mean, you go into Phi Delta Theta Stadium and get a sweep.
Dude, that was the most absurd shit of the weekend.
Take care of business.
God, the fraternity having naming rights for Taylor Stadium. I mean, dude, it ain't nothing but love, but for Carrick Jackson and the folks in Como, but that is like the most poverty move of all time for a baseball program. That's ridiculous.
I want to give you a good laugh at that one.
That's ridiculous, man. I mean, come on, dude. Like, everybody already from the baseball perspective doesn't think anything of you. And then we have that. I mean, anyways, I will say, you mentioned Max Wiener. I gave him all the praise and accolades last week, so I won't spend the next 5 minutes doing exactly that again. But what he's done with that pitching staff is just it goes without saying. No, I agree with you, Harrison. I don't care who the opponent was. The fact Ruger Rojas did what he did, I mean, that's a huge boost for Texas. Huge.
Have that in a Sunday roll now, but we can't go without talking about Will Gasparino's day.
Dude.
3 for 5, 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. I mean,
you know that gif of the guy walking in the fire suit? The guy walking, he's like he's on fire. That's Will Gasparino. Just literally a man on fire.
Cover of Travis Scott's album, like the Metro Boomin album, just walking. He's got flames. Yeah, that was Will Gasparino. Yeah, I just want to make sure we touch on that, not forget it, because Texas people would throw a fit if we did. So I got it. Don't worry, guys.
No, Gasparino was phenomenal. I mean, and then that lineup we know is
he bats in the 8-7 hole.
Yeah, that lineup's as deep as any. Like when we're talking,
you got Kimball. Yeah, Schuster. I mean, Chris. We've talked about it a lot off the air. It feels like all the pieces that came from A&M to Texas have plugged in fine, more than fine.
I mean, the Schloss effect is real. I mean, they're 8-1 in SEC play. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the country. Like, this is a team that all of a sudden I think is, if you polled most people right now and said, hey, midseason Omaha 8, who you got, updated list, most of them would include Texas.
I would.
Most of them
Absolutely.
would. So,
I mean, for Texas to be 8-1 SEC and then Texas A&M be 1-8.
yeah, we'll get there in a second, obviously. But no, you handle your business. I mean, I think that's the most impressive thing, obviously, Harrison. It's very easy to kind of go, especially if you're going there. Maybe you get lulled to sleep a little bit. You don't take it seriously. And Mizzou has shown, right? They can swing it a little bit. And I think they're probably going to get somebody. And I'm still taking the under 3.5 of the Missouri Tigers, but they're going to get 3, I think. I think they're going to get somebody.
Taking under the 4.5.
But you're going 4, I think.
Yeah, I said it was 4. I'm sticking with my guns on that.
Okay, you're going 4.
Baseball's
That's fine.
a weird sport.
That's fine. I do agree. But good on Texas again. You stay locked in. I think that's the most impressive thing. And, you know, Texas is being led by a veteran, one of the best in the country, head coach, and Jim Schlossnagle. I don't think we should be surprised.
Pitching coaches and Max Wiener, recruiting player development.
Nolan Kane, like they've got one of the best coaching staffs in the country.
And then maybe one of the best, third paid assistants in Troy Tulowitzki.
People forget how much of a legend Tulo was. They really do. But yeah, great weekend for Texas. What we'd expect. Mizzou. The fraternity letters, the fraternity letters on the stadium. That was the biggest storyline for them. So that we all found that out. Harrison, let's go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I can't believe we're talking about this one this late in the show, but this is one of the best series of the weekend. Alabama takes 2 of 3 from Oklahoma. It was no Riley Quick for Bama in game 2, but no problem for the Crimson Tide. Again, they take the series. Oklahoma, I think, learning a very difficult lesson about life on the road in the SEC. This was a really, really good series, though. Kind of win, I think, how you and I expected. Down to the wire, rubber match. Alabama outlast the Sooners. Big win for them, man. Will Hodo with a big home run in the final game of the series. Justin LeBron, that was kind of the scary part. We were like, what's his status? Rolled over on the wrist. Looks like he's fine, though. Your thoughts on this one, Harrison? Again, this one was – I think it – at times, I think series like these fly under the radar, Harrison, because – you don't look at, say, Bama or Oklahoma as like blue bloods of the conference, but this might have been the most entertaining series of the weekend and a really hard-fought series. And, we talk about that separation. Alabama getting the big nod this weekend at the Joe.
I think the biggest thing for me, Chris, is, I said it was going to be a rubber match. I said Oklahoma's going to win game 1. Alabama wins game 2 and 3. That didn't happen. Alabama won game 1, and they got to Kyson Witherspoon. One of the best, if not, top 3, 5, probably top 3 Friday starters in the SEC, week in and week out, and they touched him up. I mean, Rob Vaughn was obviously really impressed and happy to see how they handled him, just approached him, and just really patient at bats. And Justin LeBron continues, and I will continue to say it, not be afraid and to be able to hit and successfully do so at a high level in the SEC against elite arms in the SEC. Liam Doyle, Marcus Phillips. Kyson Witherspoon now. He had a oppo home run on an elevated fastball from Kyson. If you would have told me, Chris, that Cade Crossland would have outpitched Kyson Witherspoon, I wouldn't have believed you at all coming this weekend. You said that last week on our preview show. I might have kicked you out of the studio. No one would have probably believed you. He went 6 innings, 2 earned, 7 Ks, 1 walk. He gave them a chance and was the biggest reason why Oklahoma won game 2. Bobby Alcock went game 2 and he struggled. He had 4 earned over 6, but Oklahoma, playing in a really tough series on the road, I think, it's a good example of, how hard it is to win on the road because, yeah, you played it at South Carolina, a team that's very much so struggling in the SEC, doesn't have the firepower on either side of the ball that, a team like Alabama has. You win a absolutely wild series as a whole at home versus Mississippi State, in a Kyson Witherspoon shoving in game 1 and then an absolute barn burner. I hope you took the over to game 2 of 20-something runs. But this is what it's going to be like in the rest of the season, the postseason, is playing like a team like this, a scrappy team that can beat you multiple ways. Again, Alabama, they don't have the best rotation. I don't think they have a top 5 rotation at all in the SEC, but they have guys that, gut out performances and, a bullpen that's able to step up at times, and they struggle at times as well too. But, you got talented, when they play clean defense, it really plays to their advantage. And you have guys like Justin LeBron and, the rest of their lineup that can produce at a high level. And I'm trying to think, who was it? Bryce Fowler was struggling coming into the series heavily. I think he was like 3 for like 30 something. It was crazy. And he had a good weekend, I think, overall. And you have defense making great plays. Who was it out? Who was it in left field that got hurt? Was it Cade Snell? For Alabama, they ran into each other. He ended up getting helped out. He was okay after that. But you have guys like Will Plattner, you got Will Hoder, the guys that step up, and they have I'm not going to say a star power deep lineup, but a lineup that can produce in different parts of it. When needed, and have the opportunity to step up, and some guys do. And so Alabama is going to be that. I still think they're continuing to be that borderline tier 1, tier 2 team in the SEC that can play up with anybody. You can also play down a little bit, and that's no disrespect to them. It's just that's how hard the SEC is.
Yeah, I was going to say, Harrison, to kind of piggyback off what you're saying. From the SEC conference-wide perspective, this was a depth series. Like, this is the kind of series that shows the depth of the league, right? I mean, Alabama or Oklahoma, I wouldn't put them top 5 in the country. Like you said, I wouldn't put them tier 1. But this shows the depth this conference has. The fact that we're talking about Alabama and Oklahoma being tier 2, and like these are 2 really high-quality clubs. Like, I don't know. Both are obviously fighting kind of in the hosting conversation. We'll probably start getting some field of 64 projections. I think you're probably going to see one, if not both of these, at least at some point mentioned in hosting postseason baseball. Bro, these are both teams you do not want to see in your regional. Like just from a depth standpoint.
As a 2 or 3 seed, could you imagine?
You do not want to see either one of them. I mean, can you imagine getting Kyson Witherspoon in game 1 of your regional and they're a 2 or 3 seed at your spot? Like, you just no. It's not what you want. So yeah, it was great baseball the way around. I mean, like, I think you spot on with the Bama lineup. I think they're deep from a standpoint of really competitive at bats. They're not like, it's not just like one big guy. Although I think Justin LeBron is one of the best baseball players, just pure baseball players in the conference.
Absolutely agree.
And Oklahoma still, I think, really high. So my opinion on these 2 teams, Harrison, really doesn't change moving forward. Hard fought, gritty series. These teams, both very gritty in their own right. Alabama comes out taking 2 out of 3 big series win. And again, like I mentioned, they travel to the Plains to take on Auburn in that big rivalry series. Oklahoma gets LSU, Harrison.
Chris, one more thing about Oklahoma. I think for them to continue to have a successful season down the road, the rest of the season, they've got to do something about the Sunday roll. They have to, because Malachi Witherspoon's now in that Sunday roll. He's struggling. He has been struggling because he's got really great stuff, elite fastball, and a lot of movement on his off-speed pitches too. But it's just he hasn't been able to put together strong outings that gives Oklahoma a chance. And as well, Cameron Johnston struggled winning his starts. I mean, he's got 6 starts on his own, 19 innings. He's got a 5.59 ERA. And with Malachi Witherspoon's got a 5.74. I mean, I think something's that because Sunday is just such a struggle spot for Oklahoma on the pitching staff side because of the lack of quality starts they've gotten. I don't think they've gotten. I would go to say they've gotten 1 or less quality starts on Sunday this season without looking at it. I mean. And I don't know what you do because the guys that have started for them haven't pitched well on Sunday outside of, on Sunday out for their pitching staff outside of, Witherspoon, Kyson, excuse me. But I mean, I don't know what you do. I think maybe Michael Catalano, move him to the bullpen, give him a start. Maybe he's got 10 appearances. I mean, he's been great at the bullpen, but like they need more production in the Sunday spot, Chris, as a starter to be competitive, especially if they want to be in that tier 1 of the SEC, Chris.
Yeah.
We're talking about Sunday spots for teams, right? Having, Chase Shores, having Tegan Coons, and then AJ Russell at some point when he comes back, having Ruger Riojas now. I mean,
yeah, and that's what separates you, I think, from the tier 1 to the tier 2 is depth. It's depth.
And Landon Beetlecheese, you can throw in there too in that conversation now.
Yeah, it's the depth, I think, that separates. By the way, somebody does mention, I do want to highlight Zane Adams. Pretty good for them. He's been good all season, I think. Like,
he's been sneaky good.
Again, you don't rank him the best ace in the conference or anything, but very, very solid in game 1.
And he goes out and gives you a chance every single weekend.
Yeah, 4 innings pitched, 2 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Again, nothing that's going to blow you away, but he has been very, very solid for them. Like,
he's got good stuff. It's just not like I'm going to dominate you with 8-10 Ks.
Yeah, I like his game a lot. So, again, big series win for the Crimson Tide at the Joe. Harrison, let's go to Columbia, South Carolina, where the Tennessee Vols sweep the Gamecocks. First sweep in Columbia for Tennessee since 1994. It's been a long time. Some history being made there at Founders Park. give South Carolina credit. I think there was a lot of fight there, but Tennessee just too much. Paul Maneri looked like he was about to blow a gasket all weekend. You saw at different times that the clips, obviously, of the frustration. I mean, I think it was well summarized. The Gamecock struggles, and I forget it was game 2 or game 3, but bases loaded, nobody out, can't score a run. He can't do that against Tennessee and have any chance to win. The other thing I want to highlight here is, and we have to mention this, comes out because you sent this in the group chats. I'm going to include it here. Comes out on social media. There is a picture of South Carolina players, supposedly, because the internet is, who knows, a picture of South Carolina players seen out the night before the Sunday game, which was a noon Eastern first pitch. Is it a big deal? Is it a little deal? Is it no deal? The biggest deal, though, Harrison, Tennessee stays hot. They sweep Carolina at Founders Park.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I mean, it's one thing. This is an extreme example, right? Johnny Manziel, his whole off the field shenanigans. I mean, but he was winning on the field.
He was balling. Yeah,
he was ball. Like, who was going to? I mean, obviously, you don't support that and condone that as a coach or a program. But like, he literally said in the document, the harder I partied, the better I played, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But like, if you're struggling, I don't understand that as a team. And like, it's not like you're going up to celebrate a series win or something,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be doing that. That's for sure. I wouldn't probably.
My only
season.
I would
say a
say
noon game.
Yeah, dude. I mean, my only thing though is like, dude, again, I've talked to guys that were on those 2010, 20, and I know they won. I get it. But even I talked to somebody who was there in 2009 before they won the national title. Like, I mean, dude. Breaking news, college kids go out to a bar. And then they weren't even like at a club. It's like they're sitting at a table just drinking a beer. I mean, and the person that took the picture, man, that's so fucking goofy, dude. Like that's such fucking loser energy, bro, to do that. And like, you're a fan of that school. You're trying to put your own people on blast.
Can't trust them.
That's crazy to me, dude. Like, anyways, I don't think it's a deal at all. It is what it is. Like, man, Ethan Petrie, if he wants to go out and have a beer, hell, he's the one guy on the team that's balling out. Like, let him go do it. He's the one stud on that.
He hit a home run off Liam Doyle.
Dylan Eskew, I don't think is even pitching. He's in concussion protocol. He's out there with him. Like, who cares?
But I mean, are you supposed to drink on concussion protocol?
I don't know, bro. That's a good question. That's actually a very valid question, I will say. No, listen, the bottom line, though, is this. Tennessee, they handle their business as we expected, Harrison. I'm going to say this from the South Carolina side. The Paul Maneri hire always felt really strange to me. And I think I understood the objective and what they were trying to do, which was provide a shot of adrenaline, essentially, to a program that once was great and no longer is. But I think what you're seeing is like, I don't know that it's really done that, number one. And number two, I don't know that it would have mattered what coach they got from the standpoint. Like, this team just doesn't have players. Like, they just don't have the talent to compete. And number three, Harrison, we talked about Tim Corbin earlier. Like, in this new era of college baseball, even when Maneri was at LSU, like, what has he done in the new era with portal, NIL?
That was my question coming in for the hire.
And then, like, I see him in the uniform, and I hear him talk, and it just, who knows? He may end up taking him to a College World Series. I have no idea. But it feels like a weird fit to me. And then, Harrison, the quote of all quotes, where, yes, South Carolina's on a losing streak. What, they've lost
7?
Have they lost 7 in a row? They've lost 7 in a row. They're on a losing streak.
They played UNC in a midweek neutral site, I will say.
And lost, yes. I get it. You're on a losing streak. But the wildest quote of the weekend, for Paul Maneri to come out and say, we are going to treat Tuesday night, for those that don't know, they play Presbyterian College on Tuesday night. We are going to treat Tuesday night like it is Game 7 of the World Series. I get what he's trying to say. I get what he's insinuating. But, like, I've talked about it before, Harrison. Like, I watch South Carolina baseball, and this used to be a program when you saw the uni, when you saw that SC on the brim, on the hat, I should say, it struck the fear of God in you. Like, it was like seeing the LSU logo, the Texas logo, what the Tennessee logo is now. For you to go from that, winning back-to-back national titles, to
almost 3
insinuating
in a row.
almost 3 in a row, to then insinuating that a Tuesday night against PC is like Game 7 of the World Series for you, my God, how the mighty have fallen. So give Tennessee all the credit. I feel like we're spending too much time probably talking about the wrong team here. But the story, I'm fascinated by what's happening in Columbia with this Pulmonary thing. I'll be honest with you, Harrison. I give it 3 years tops. I just don't see it. I don't see the vision. I don't think Pulmonary was never going to be the long-term answer. Like, I just don't see it, man. I really don't see it. So, anyways, Vols take care of business as we expect. Hunter Inslee's catching fire. Cannon Peebles had a big homer. I believe Dalton Bargo did as well. I mean,
I'll touch on a couple of those things because, I mean, Hunter Inslee is having his best season of his career. I mean, last season, I'll read you a few numbers. He was batting .298 last season, 216 at bat. So a huge sample size. Obviously, you play 60, you win 60 games too, right? 15 doubles, 12 homers, 48 RBIs. He's batting .380 right now, the 100 at bats with 11 doubles, 4 home runs, 33 RBIs in less than half the sample size. And he's walking at an extremely high level. He's striking out less. I mean, he's playing elite defense to go with it too. He's such a complete player at such an elite high level in the SEC that I think it's going under the radar, and people need to appreciate more and recognize it more. I mean, that, and then you have yet again, Chris, another freshman from Tennessee step up, Braden Krenzel, who has been shoving quietly this season with a 1.13 ERA, 2-0 in 8 appearances, 16 innings, Chris. I mean, he's not a huge strikeout guy. He's 1 per inning, but like, to do what he's done, quietly, and he went five innings, 4 hits, 1 earned against South Carolina. I know it's not the most potent lineup, but dude, as a freshman in the SEC on the road, after coming in behind Tegan Coons, another freshman who goes 4 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned. He only had 1 strikeout, which is weirdly enough, but like, I mean, the depth of Tennessee, we talk about the depth of, is what makes elite teams elite in the SEC. You have freshmen coming in out of the bullpen and coming and starting the game to be able to do that on the road. Unbelievable. Just, I mean, not enough props to the freshmen that do that, let alone a sophomore. But like, these kids are 18, Chris, 18, 19. But I did find interesting, Chris, and you might too, was just, I mean, Liam Doyle getting touched up again. I mean,
I was going to ask you,
everyone out, Chris. He's either punching him out or they're barreling it off.
I was going to ask you, are you starting to get concerned with Liam Doyle?
I'm seeing teams be able to hit his velo. I mean, he's got good off pitches. I think he relies too much on the elevated fastball. Personally, I mean, 5 2/3, 9 hits, 5 earned. I mean, he didn't have
against not a great lineup. Like,
yeah, I mean, like last outing for him, it was struggling, being too nitpicky, walking guys. 11 Ks, 1 walk. I mean, shout out for Micah Butel, 11 punchies, 1 walk. I mean, but that was just kind of concerning for me from a standpoint of Tennessee, like the only concern, I guess, for their weekend. And then, Illinois shuts it down after, to close it out after Tanner Franklin comes in. But that was just, I think, keep an eye on that for me, for Tennessee. But you go on the road, you take care of business. Tony Vitello knows how hard it is to win the road in the SEC. And, I mean, the Vols are rolling.
The Vols are rolling as we'd expect. I do agree with you. The one thing really, truly to keep an eye on with them is the Liam Doyle thing. I don't think I'm concerned yet, but not trending the right way, not the way that we thought.
I just don't see a team having as much depth on Sunday as Tennessee. Maybe LSU.
It's crazy.
Now Texas, I guess, depending on how much you use Grubbs and Volantis.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we'll be keeping a close eye on it. But by the way, Harrison, maybe it's time to start picking some sweeps because, again, 5 of the 8 series ended in a sweep.
You text me that. I don't know. I'll do one next week for you.
I mean, I'm just do whatever you want, but I will say this before we get in the final series. I am surprised at the amount of sweeps we're getting. Like, we're getting a lot of them.
Crazy high.
We're getting a lot of sweeps. Like, it's actually pretty wild. So, finally, Harrison, let's jump to College Station, Texas. The Kentucky Wildcats take 2 of 3 from the Texas A&M Aggies. We had some theatrics, Harrison, in Game 3 with the whole curfew thing. Kentucky had to get on the road. A new inning could not be started after 4:30 local time. Kentucky.
Yours truly explained it pretty well.
Yeah, Kentucky looked like they're obviously stalling a little bit. They're doing a mound visit. They're looking down at the pitch stuff, whatever. And we had Michael Earley and Nick Mingione going at it. That sort of just took away the attention, though, from the fact, Harrison, that Kentucky goes in a blue bell, takes 2 of 3. And Harrison, I said what I said on Thursday. Well, I'm back because Texas A&M is cooked. They are officially done. Like this 2025 season for Texas A&M is over. It's over. And I'm officially all the way out on Michael Earley. I just, dude, there is no chance in hell that this team, all of a sudden, you just lost 2 or 3 to Kentucky. You got Tennessee coming up. You got to play LSU. You got to play Arkansas. You got to play Texas. You got to play Georgia. There is no shot in hell this team is just all of a sudden, out of thin air, going to get it going. And listen, obviously, I shouldn't have to say this, but I will. I got nothing against Michael Earley. Like, I'd love to have a conversation with Michael Earley. Like, I'm sure he's a great dude. He's obviously been a really, really good coach, highly thought of. Heck, I got a dude in my mentions that, I was talking about early on social media. He's like, hey, I played for Earley. He's a great dude. He's the hardest worker. He's going to get it right. Hey, Eberson, sorry, not sorry. When I see him, I just don't see a head coach. Like, I just, to me, he looks like he's in over his head. To me, he looks out of place. Like that whole thing with him barking at Nick Mingione, man, that felt like such like a crybaby, like, woe is me. Like, bro, you're getting your ass kicked. You ain't scoring 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Like,
no,
dude,
I like it. I'm glad he barked at him because that's Bush League.
Bro,
you don't do that.
They're not like, bro. So what? They should rush to throw the final pitches so that
no, they shouldn't have these communication errors. Player mound visits. Like what? And then like go out and just stalling for several innings, especially the last. But like,
okay,
no,
the frustration was more so because they were about to lose 2 or 3, and he knew that. That's where it came from. The home plate umpire, to your point, I think Jake talked about it too. That's the one that should have said something.
The home plate umpire did.
If you want to make sure you get the 9th inning in, like, he should go out there and be like, all right, come on, let's go.
But
I know
that
what
should
you're doing.
also be known about and talked about pregame, no matter what the score is, pregame, because the game would not be moved up. You knew this was a potential issue that comes up with the game time that they had to start.
Yeah,
definitely the home plate umpire.
That's a good point.
Enough heat as much as he should.
I just, again, Harrison, like the results tell all. I don't really have to like, well, this is why. The results tell all. But even like I've listened to Michael Earley in interviews. I've seen post-game interviews. Like you see some of the stuff happening in game. Listen, man, great dude, great hitting coach, great person, I'm sure. Not everybody's cut out for this, man. They're just not. I don't look at him and in any way think he's cut out for this shit. Like I really don't. And like, it's all good. Go be a great hitting coach. But for them to be as bad as they are, with the talent they have, like we talk about A&M looks lost, he looks lost. To me, he looks lost. I think it starts at the top. I really do. I think if you're Texas A&M, your season's going to be a wash. You're not going to make the postseason. You should be spending the next few months. Hey, the buyout money's nothing. You're Texas A&M. You messed up last year. You fucked up. You didn't get the right guy. Go out and go get a dude this time. Like, this is not, we're not making a buddy hire. We're not hiring a guy because all the players like him. And this is why you don't do that. This is exactly why you don't do that. I mean,
South Carolina wanted Monty Taylor.
Proof's in the pudding.
The players at South Carolina wanted Monty Taylor, and they didn't get him.
Well, Monty Lee, yes.
Or Monty Lee, not Monty Taylor.
And they shouldn't have. Like, dude, like, this is why you don't let the inmates run the asylum. Like, go out and get a dude who has won at a high level. You don't replace, you can hate him, scumbag, whatever. I was highly critical of Jim Schlossnagle when he left, especially how he did it.
100%.
But he's one of the best coaches in college baseball, and you replaced him with a guy who had never coached a game. And what was the validation? Well, all the players love him, and he's an Aggie. Like, there was nothing to fall back on. And, like, we're seeing why that was such a bad idea. So, Harrison, I may end up being wrong. And, I'd love nothing more. A&M, get to Omaha. I'd love it. And if you get there, we'll all celebrate it, obviously. But you got to show me I'm out on Michael Earley. I'm out on A&M. They're cooked as far as I'm concerned. And credit to Kentucky. We need to start talking more about them. I will say that. We need to give credit to Kentucky because they went in there, kicked their ass, took the series against an A&M team you know is desperate. But There's just no coming back, man. I just don't see it. Like Florida, the difference with Florida, they have a path, Harrison. Again, they've got Vandy. They got Mizzou. They got Mississippi State. A&M's got they've got Carolina and Mizzou. But, I mean, at this point, I expect Mizzou to come down to a rubber match. At this point, South Carolina's not a given. I mean, I just don't see it, man. I think A&M's officially cooked. And I think you mentioned this, and I'll echo it. It's one of the biggest disappointments, collapses, most outrageous going from consensus number 1 preseason. They were a lot of people's pick to win the national title. There's no better team on paper. We heard that all preseason. So, bro, they are under 500 at the halfway point. I mean, so
they're 1-8 in SEC play.
Yeah, I'm just, dude, I'm out. I told you going in how I felt, what the vibe was going to be for me. I'm out on A&M. I'm out on Michael Earley, man. You got to prove it to me otherwise. But if that's why I told you, Harrison, like, I don't think it's an overreaction to be one and done in this scenario. Like, the guy's in over his head. He's just not cut out for the job. Like, just bottom line, he's just not cut out for the job. So it's so painfully obvious.
I mean, everyone has raved about how much of a hitting guy guru he is and just how much the offense has struggled. I mean, you lose some pieces. You have a lot of new pieces come in. You have some injuries. You lose Gavin Grohovac, SEC Freshman of the Year last year. But just as a whole, I think the offense is just falling off a cliff. And then this weekend, Kentucky is a bottom third offensive production team. That's not even disrespect. It's just statistics.
Right.
They're batting 290, which as a team, you think that's high, close to 300, but it's 12th in the SEC. You got 29 home runs, 53 doubles, 200 RBIs. That's 200 RBIs is pretty solid. But
bottom of the league in power, like they're not. Yeah.
All 3 of A&M's starters gave up 7 runs. Ryan
Prager.
3 innings, 8 hits, 7 earned, 3 Ks. It wasn't, he wouldn't walk any guys, just they were hitting them. And Justin Lamkin, 5 innings, 7 earned. Then Miles Patton, 4 innings, 7 earned. Just Kentucky just singled and doubled them to death. It felt like.
Harrison, we thought
they are the top 2 in stolen bases, top 2 probably in clean defense, top 2 in singles and doubles, in sack bunts.
Harrison, we thought the one thing with A&M you could depend on is like, man, they got that weekend rotation. Dude, but here's the thing.
Been saving them.
But here's the thing. What did we say last week? At some point, your pitching staff's going to break.
It's the same thing with Vanderbilt, Chris.
Right. It just at some point, they're going to break. Like, this may sound silly to some. You're going to break their spirit, if nothing else. They're just like, my God, dude, we know we just have to be perfect. We have to nitpick, and then we're going to get behind in counts, and then we got to groove fastballs or throw those get me overs, and SEC hitters are going to punch it. I don't care if they're Kentucky or where they're at. So, dude, if the pitching staff, Harrison, if this is what we're going to get, it may not be this bad, right? Like, I'd expect a guy like Ryan Prager to bounce back, but like, dude, they may not win an SEC series. I mean, because the hitting looks dead to me. I mean. That side of it looks dead to me. Like if they're getting this out of the pitching staff, it's a mess, dude. It's a mess. I mean, it's just a flat out mess.
I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what,
They're just not good.
Course correct.
They're not good. What would you set the percentage at right now that A&M will make the postseason? Because I'd go 0.
5%.
Like, it'd be one thing if the schedule, like, somehow softened up. You and I have talked about it. They haven't even got to the hard part. They haven't even got to the hard. They got to go to Tennessee. They got to go to Rocky Top. I mean, we'll talk about it more on Thursday. Could they inexplicably go up there and win 2 of 3? It feels virtually.
Could they win a game?
Can they win a game? Yeah, good question. Can they win a game? And I will say again, Harrison, I want to give the Kentucky love, dude. Like, I think Nick Mingione, he's not a guy we're going to rank like in our top 5 coaches in the SEC, but he's the damn good
2024 coach of the year, though.
He's a damn good ball coach. Damn good ball coach. And he's going to get the most out of his guys. And Kentucky, they look like, to me, Harrison, I was going to say a typical Kentucky team. I mean, last year they weren't typical. They won 22 SEC games. But outside of that, they look like a typical Kentucky team from the standpoint, very, very pesky. Like, you're not going to be excited to play Kentucky, right? Like, they're going to do things that annoy you. They're going to put pressure on you. Like, that's what Kentucky's going to be. I think Kentucky's going to be I think Kentucky has a far better chance of making the postseason than Texas A&M. Far better.
Yeah. But to talk about the umpire, I found his name, Eddie Harrison. I'm still blaming him. Eddie Newsome, excuse me. Still blaming him for how he handled the whole time thing at the end of Game 3. But, I mean, I agree. I think Kentucky does have a much better chance, obviously, to make the postseason. But I think they have a better chance of winning a regional than A&M has of going to the postseason.
I just, again, man, I get what you're saying. Like, was there some Bush League stuff by Kentucky? I think our guy Jake McKeever, he phrased it as chicken shit. There was some chicken shit stuff done, which, I mean, it's Kentucky. That's their brand of baseball is low-key chicken shit, is it not? At times, I mean, it's a little squirrely at times. But, dude, if you're Michael Earley, to me, it just comes off as, I'm butthurt that I know I'm about to lose 2 of 3. I'm about to lose a series I'm supposed to win. Everybody's going to come at me for it, as they should. And I'm pissed off, and I want to go at somebody. And so I'm going at Nick. And I'm sure Nick Mingione is like, bro, I've been in this game a while. You're a first-year rookie coach. Shut your mouth. Like, literally shut your mouth.
Well, Chris, like, I would be more pissed if it was like, a 1 or 2 run ball game, right? Super close.
They're down 5.
It's 10-5. But on the other side of it, you're up 5 runs. What, are you afraid of giving up a 5 spot in the 9th to A&M right now?
My question to you is this, Harrison. Did they do anything illegal?
No, just unwritten rule of baseball.
Well,
Chris,
hey, Harrison, unwritten rules of baseball call for you to peg a guy after he pimps a homer. So, I mean,
100%.
Where are the unwritten rules of baseball?
Britton Lawson should have gotten beamed. Yeah, but I mean, we're going to talk about game times and curfews. There's a 5:30 Eastern curfew for travel. It's not like they're going from Cal to Duke. They're not going from Boston College to Miami. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, we talked about it earlier. LSU Mississippi State started at 10:30.
Yeah, why wouldn't I will say, why wouldn't you just start the game earlier? I mean, like, why is that
an hour earlier, half an hour earlier?
Anything.
It was one of these slowest games I watched too. It took an hour and a half to get through, I think, an inning and a half. Start the game half an hour early, you don't have the problem.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is this. Things are a mess in College Station, and I think things are going to go from bad to worse. I really do. I don't see them getting any better. There's no relief upcoming. You got South Carolina, Mizzou. Maybe you can win both of those series, and that'll. I mean, let's say you swept Mizzou and beat South Carolina 2 or 3. That gets you to 6 SEC wins. Harrison, you need to probably get to 13 SEC wins to make the postseason. Where on God's green earth are there 7 more wins on that schedule? Where are they getting them? You're going to have to win another series. Are you beating Georgia? Are you beating Texas?
You're going to have to win the SEC tournament.
It's just it's unreal. It's beyond comprehension the season they've had.
We've harped on it long enough.
Yeah, we have. Harrison, that being said, weekend number 3 officially in the books. Guys, we're going to talk midweek really quickly, preview what's to come. Before we do, I want to say about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we're powered by our friends at FanDuel. This bracket season, FanDuel is letting you make the call. Because right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to bet on everything from clutch shots to last-second heartbreaks and even who's cutting down the nets. If you've been waiting to join, there's no better time. There's tourney action almost every day, and FanDuel has amazing bet types like spreads, totals, game props, and so much more. Guys, again, myself, Dave Shoemate, we're locking in picks for March Madness. The Final Four is upon us. National title, tail us, fade us, whatever you want to do. I will say I've heated up a little bit lately, so be careful what you decide. Either way, when you do it, visit FanDuel.com/SECU and get in on the college hoops action all tourney long. Must be 21 and up and present in select states or 18 and up and present in D.C. First online, real money wager only, $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Harrison, really quickly, let's take a look at the upcoming midweek slate. A lot of interesting games. A lot of exciting games in the midweek as we get into each of those. Let me see. Harrison, I don't know if you've looked at the schedule. Anything jump out to you? LSU, La Tech down in Baton Rouge. Could be Texas State. That's always a really fun one. Oklahoma, Texas Tech in Norman. I know I'm just running through the schedule right now, Harrison, so feel free to stop me whenever.
Hey, I think Western Kentucky, Vanderbilt.
That is a good one.
Game.
Out
Western
there in
Kentucky's
Nashville.
not bad. And they have 4 guys batting over 350. They got a guy batting over 450 and Ryan Weidman. I mean, he is on a tear unlike any other for his team, let alone, a mid-major program. I mean, he's got 53 hits this year already, Chris. I mean, he's not a home run guy. No one on their team is. No one has more than, I think, 6. But, I mean, it's just going to be kind of, do they want to throw their best arms on a midweek? Because their lineup could smash. I mean, I said Ryan Weidman, Thomas Marsala, and Carlos Vasquez are their top 3 hitters, and they all like to hit the ball really hard. Big doubles teams, a lot of loud contact singles and doubles. But I mean, they could, give Vandy maybe a sneaky midweek loss. But that one, I think, obviously Texas is a big one. But I mean, I don't feel like I have as much concern for that as I do Texas Tech, Oklahoma. I think that could be a sneaky game just because of Texas Tech. So, they've been to Omaha in the past. What year was it? It was the past 8 years.
They're a good program. They're not very good this year, but
they're going to get good, I think, the next couple of years. But I mean, they've got talent on their board. And you got Robin Villanueva, who's their best hitter, batting almost 1,200 OPS. I mean, it's just going to be about what pitching I think Oklahoma rolls out there, arms wise, and how the dice roll in that. But Texas Tech's got 4 guys over 1,000 OPS, Chris. They're not going to be a team that's slouched at all. You should take lightly because even though their record's not good, I think they're right at 500. I think that it's going to be a really competitive game. And it's a Big 12 game. It's basically a former Big 12 conference game.
Yeah, that one will be fun, no doubt. That'll probably be I think for me, that'll be the must-see TV of the night. Again, Texas State, I think could be interesting. Mississippi State, how about they travel to Memphis, Harrison? They got to go to Memphis. So Auburn hosting UAB, kind of interesting. Tennessee Tech, kind of interesting. I mean, hey, Harrison, we got to mention South Carolina's Game 7 of the World Series. Presbyterian College comes to town. That's Game 7, baby. Game 7 of the World Series. Florida, North Florida. Those midweeks for Florida are always fun.
Question for you, Chris.
Yeah.
Does Missouri sweep the midweek?
About to say,
doubleheader, Arkansas Pine Bluff.
We have one Wednesday game, and it is Mizzou, Arkansas Pine Bluff. They play them Tuesday night and Wednesday night. I think they drop one of them. Okay. I think they drop one of them.
I'm going to say they sweep the midweek.
Harrison's calling a sweep. Breaking news.
And calling a first sweep. It's a midweek, and it's Missouri.
Midweek sweep, and it's Mizzou.
Hey, midweeks matter.
Checking all the boxes there of things. Yeah, check them all the boxes of things. Hey, you are right, though. When's the next time you're going to have an opportunity to pick Missouri to sweep anything?
Come on.
So,
come on.
Got to do it. Got to do it.
Come on now.
Mizzou,
Come on,
Jared
Jackson. MIZ for the midweek, baby. MIZ.
Yeah. This is going to be
home of Phi Delta Theta sweep in the midweek.
Yeah. Get swept at Phi Delta Theta Stadium. Again, I look at Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Texas State are the two I'm most intrigued by. Maybe LSU, La Tech. That'll be a fun one too. But a lot of good midweek baseball. A lot of good games as teams continue to try to build momentum, boost their records. Hey, midweeks matter, baby. Midweeks matter. Momentum-wise, postseason resume-wise, you can't lose too many of these or it could come back to bite you. Harrison, that being said, fun show today, man. This was a really, really fun one. Again, almost 800 of you tuned in live. We cannot say thank you enough across Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I want to highlight some comments, Harrison, and then we'll get out of here. I think this one's kind of interesting. Caleb says, I'd like to see Schmidt get the start Tuesday, have a good outing against La Tech, build some confidence after a rough SEC start. Well, Jay Johnson said he ain't pitching the midweek anymore. So Does he change his tune? Does he trot him back out there and build some confidence?
I don't know. I'm going to throw some up too, just while we're going through them. Alabama keeps moving up.
Yeah.
Gaspo, have a weekend.
Gaspo had a heck of a weekend.
What's up, boys?
What's up, LJ? Hey, I want to throw this one up, Harrison. Gig'em Bart says, so you're saying there's a chance, Harrison. Harrison's saying there's a chance A&M gets to the postseason.
I mean, no one had that on the bingo card. Texas 8-1, A&M 1-8.
Yeah.
But I mean, Chris, I think this is a good one. Are you taking this or the field? I think that's a lot of teams though, but would you take 3 of those or the field?
I would take the 3 top SEC teams. I mean, I think the national champion's coming from the SEC.
That's fair. That's a good debate.
And listen, I have SEC bias. I'm not even going to run from that.
Yeah.
But
if you give me this or the field, I'd absolutely.
I mean, dude, SEC bias in base, not a bad. I mean, SEC bias in baseball. What is it? The last 5 years in a row, 5 different champions, all from the SEC.
Just means more.
Let's not overthink this thing. Yeah, I mean, those are all though. Yeah, Arkansas, LSU, Tennessee, Bama, Texas, Georgia. I mean, I think one of them is right now. One of them is probably winning the national championship. So,
yeah, I mean that's a fair statement.
It's a safe bet. It's a safe bet, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, dude, I think the SEC. We'll see how we got a ways to go. We'll see how it shakes out when we get the bracket and everything. But I mean, dude, we had 4 SEC teams in Omaha last year. Like, could we get
super matchups? Going to be interesting to see who's on what side of the brackets.
Yeah. Yeah, how do they pit the SEC against, or do they pit the SEC against one another? That's going to be a big question too. So, I mean, dude, I think the SEC is looking at getting 4 in again, like maybe 5. So, I do want to highlight this comment from Ethan. Corbin needs to go. After the Game 3 loss, he was asked about his struggles to adapt to the changes in the college game, and he bit her head off about it. He clearly has no intention of changing. Yeah, it's adapt or die. Listen, again, Corbin's not a guy you're going to fire. You're not going to fire Tim Corbin.
Yeah.
But it does feel like he's lost his fastball a little bit, and the way he's trying to win baseball games is archaic. And I know that sounds crazy because, like, it was just a couple years ago. They were in Omaha. Like, it wasn't that long ago, But at the same time, man, like,
one of the winningest head coaches in college baseball, top 10, I believe. Same with Danny Hall.
Well, Paul Maneri's the winningest head coach, and that don't mean a whole bunch. So, but I mean, Tim Corbin, great coach. For what the expectation is, Harrison, at Vandy, I just don't think the style they're trying to play is going to meet that expectation more often than not.
And the lack of NIL.
Like you said, Harrison, look at who's at the top of the SEC. Look at the power numbers. LSU's the one rare exception, but they've still got as much pop as anybody in the conference. So, proof's in the pudding. So,
yep. There's one more I wanted to find if you got anything you else want to bring up. That was really good to talk about. I'm going through them real quick.
Yeah, whatever you want to throw up.
I might not find it. I might look at it later and tweet it out. But
Gunner says A&M would have to sweep both Mizzou and South Carolina and win 6 of the 15 between Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, Georgia, and Texas. Yeah, it's just that feels like a tough ask. Feels like a tough ask.
I mean, it's anything can happen, but
yeah.
I mean, the cards ain't looking like they're going to play out that way.
It does not. It does not. Harrison, again, really good stuff. We'll go ahead and close this thing up and get out of here, man. Appreciate you taking the time. Again, this gets more and more fun by the week, by the show.
Long one, but a good one.
A long one, but a good one. Friday Night Spikes continues to pop, guys. Make sure you tune in that on Friday night. Of course, we'll be back on Thursday at noon Eastern, 11 Central, to preview the weekend. What an electric weekend it'll be. Obviously, recap the midweek as well. And again, Friday Night Spikes. Check us out there. It will be around 9 or 10-ish Eastern time when the games are concluding, kind of wrapping up the day. Y'all know the drill at this point, man. We're having a blast across the board, and the love and the embrace, Harrison, of the college baseball content, the content that we are putting out there. Man, we can't say thank you enough, and it's absolutely incredible. Our guy, Harrison Fant's hitting 1 million damn views on a tweet over the weekend. Twice. How about that? How about that, man? How about that?
Big weekend.
Yeah, big weekend for all the boys across the board, man. So, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast. Or get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. For Harrison Fant, I'm Chris Phillips. This is The Windup. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we will catch you all on Thursday.